wanted to talk about was how I knew that these were signs and symbols from spirit and that I just wasn't going bananas. Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. You're watching Confident, Fearless, and Worthy. My name's Danielle, and today we are going to be talking about signs and symbols from spirit and how you know that they actually are signs and symbols from spirit. I feel like a lot of times people can question themselves and question the messages that they receive because they're not sure if it's just their mind playing tricks on them or something. A little bit about me is that I don't believe that there are any coincidences. Everything is meant to be. Everything is supposed to happen as it does. I believe that things that are occurring that you may think are coincidences are actually signs and guidance that you are on the right path or that you need to make a decision. It can range really from anything along those lines. I wanted to tell you a little bit about my journey with signs and symbols from spirit. I grew up Lutheran, and so we really didn't talk about that necessarily. Over the years, I've kind of evolved my own faith to be more spiritual than anything, but it was a slow process. In college, I lost my grandfather. My family was very close to our grandfather, and so, you know, it was definitely not, it wasn't something that we didn't know was going to happen. He had been sick for a really long time, but it's still shocking and jarring, you know, when it first happens, for sure. About a year later, I was having trouble registering for classes. I was really struggling with all of the schoolwork that I had, and it was the first day of class for a new semester, and I used agendas, and so I pulled out my agenda for something, and inside of the agenda was a penny. And for whatever reason, my mind went immediately to my grandfather. I didn't really know why I associated this with him at first, but then I started to think about it. My grandfather was a huge coin collector. He loved coins. He had a large collection, and I remember him when we were little giving us certain coins and things like that. He was fairly big into coins, and I didn't really put two and two together right then, but as I got to see more pennies, and as I continued to have my thoughts drawn to my grandfather, I realized that my grandfather was sending me pennies. A long time ago I used to read, this is a little embarrassing, a long time ago I used to read Dear Abby, and there were a couple of people who started to write in about pennies from heaven. And it was kind of like a series thing. She used to, you know, feature articles that had pennies from heaven stories and continue the series. And, you know, I remembered that, and, you know, looking more into it, I found that coins and pennies are a very, very common sign from spirit because, you know, they're very easy to see on the ground. You can't miss them. You know, it just kind of appears out of nowhere. I found pennies in the most random places. I remember one other one that year was in the hallway of my residence hall. I've come across pennies literally flying out of my wallet before. That's happened. One of the most recent experiences was I was putting away my Christmas decorations. Literally, my wallet was not near the living room. It wasn't anywhere close, and there was a penny on the floor underneath my Christmas decorations. Like, it's just random and weird, and it is always a jarring thing when I see a penny because I know it's a sign from him, and I know that it means that I am on the right path and that I should continue what I'm doing. And I've actually had this verified by a medium. I went to go see a medium, and she did mention that the pennies were sign and symbol from my grandfather, so that is pretty cool. The next thing that I get as a sign is cardinals. So my grandmother passed away when I was in graduate school. Again, she had been sick for a little while, so it wasn't very unexpected. We knew it was going to happen. It was a really, really difficult time. And I had actually talked to her about my experience with pennies and finding pennies and things like that. So she knew all about that. Prior to her passing, because it was basically inevitable at this point in time, I remember thinking about what her sign and symbol would be, because I had told her about the pennies, and so I assumed that she would also have a sign and symbol. I was in the lobby of my residence hall and I went onto Facebook, and one of my great aunts, who's not related, posted a picture of a cardinal, and the post was about how cardinals are signs and symbols from spirit, and they come to visit the souls of loved ones to let them know that they're okay. And immediately I knew that my grandmother had passed away. Ooh, I'm getting chills as I'm telling you this. And literally 2 minutes later, my father called and said that my grandmother had passed away. So that was a pretty clear indication that cardinals were her symbol, and that she had come to let me know what to look out for as signs and symbols from her. This is actually a cardinal that she had as a Christmas ornament, and we didn't find these until after she had passed. So that was a kind of cool thing. I have seen cardinals, you know, they're always around during Christmas time, but like, it's weird the places that they will pop up. I saw a bumper sticker, and I live in the New England area, so it was very weird to see a St. Louis Cardinals bumper sticker with a Massachusetts license plate. That was just a little weird, so that I felt like that was a sign from her. I have seen actual cardinals right after she passed. I swear one flew right in front of me as I was walking on campus. I have also seen them drive in front of my car. They really just show up anytime that she wants to send me a message. And so that's really cool. The other signs and symbols that I get are not necessarily from anyone. They are angel numbers. And so if you go online and you look up angel numbers, it is usually typically a sequence of the same number repeated either once or twice. And they all have different meanings attached to them. You can, you know, Google all of these. There's different sequences and things like that. I will link them down below in the description box here so you can look them up. But the Spirit really loves to, and the universe loves to communicate with me via numbers. And you know, so I have seen 111, 222, 1212 more recently is one that I have seen quite a bit. But the one that always happens and the one that I see basically every day is the number 13. 13 is my date of birth, and I don't remember exactly when I started seeing them very frequently, but I just knew immediately that it was a sign from the universe and sign from spirit saying that everything's going to be okay. And it's kind of like my daily reminder to myself to remember that I am always being guided and that I am loved and cared for by the universe and by spirit. I've seen so many 13s today. It's kind of ridiculous. And that's due to some other things that are going on that hopefully I'll be able to share with you shortly. But, you know, it's kind of been crazy. And I just had this experience while I was sitting down reading about signs and symbols, which I'll get to in a second. And I was like, you know, it would really be nice to see the number 13 right now. But I don't think it's anywhere near the time. And so I waited. And then literally the next time I look at the clock, it said 8:13. So that is, it's just kind of mind-blowing sometimes. Also, my new credit card that I got has the number 13 in it in a weird spot, which is nuts to me. So I knew that was also a sign, so every time I use my credit card, I'm like, oh man, this is crazy. But it's a legit thing. And so what I wanted to talk about was how I knew that these were signs and symbols from spirit and that I just wasn't going bananas. Basically, it's just a gut feeling. It's just a gut feeling, and you really can't question it. If you feel like that is a sign from spirit or from the universe or from someone that you love, then it probably is. You have to go with your gut and your intuition and just believe and say thank you for the sign and go with it. Gabby Bernstein, in her book The Universe Has Your Back, talks a little bit about this, and which is what I was reading when I received my sign, so kind of, again, weird. But again, there's no coincidences. I wanted to touch on a couple of things that she says in her book. Universe Has Your Back. She talks about asking for guidance from the universe and for asking for a specific sign, and that is completely okay to do. In fact, it is probably the best way to go about it if you are really wanting to see a sign. If you are dealing with a situation, ask for a specific sign, and it can be anything. It can be a number, it can be a symbol, it could be an animal. Whatever comes to your mind first, go with that. Because again, oftentimes that is your intuition or spirit telling you to pick that sign so that they can show it to you and have it be present to you. But if you want to pick something completely random, that's great too. The universe will work with that. Once you pick your sign and symbol, it's going to be really hard, but you kind of have to forget about it almost and let it go. If you are seeking out your symbol, if you are impatient, if you don't believe that it's going to come, then it's not going to come to you. And, you know, you will be kind of be blocking that symbol from coming to you. So just be patient, let it go, surrender, and believe that you will see your sign or your symbol and receive that guidance that you're looking for. When you receive it, that is your sign. Don't overthink it. Don't doubt it. That is it. That is the thing that you were looking for, and that is the guidance that you have asked to receive. And if you don't receive it, because that can happen, that's also an answer. Something that you may ask is, am I going to get that job interview, or am I headed on this right path? And ask for a certain sign or symbol. And if you receive it, then you know, and if you don't, then it's a sign that you should change things up or maybe not go in the path that you are currently going in. You also have to be open. It may not come the way that you think it's going to come, and it could look a little bit differently. One example of that could be if, so say you're like me and your symbol is a cardinal. It doesn't have to be only live cardinals. It can be a picture of a cardinal. It can be a picture of a cardinal with something else. It could be a cartoon. It could be, you know, an ornament. It could be anything. So just be open to that, and you will definitely know again when it is your sign. As Gabby Bernstein says, your sign will be crystal clear when it comes through. So you will have an immediate knowing upon that. I feel like it's after that immediate knowing that people start to doubt themselves and say, ooh, well, I don't know, it didn't come the way that I thought it would, or it wasn't like I was expecting, or maybe it's not, maybe it's just a coincidence. Don't doubt it. That is your sign. That is your guidance. And really, truly believe in that and thank the universe for your sign after you receive it. And also in my case, you know, your sign may come in multiple ways. A couple years ago, I had asked for a bouquet of flowers as my sign. I don't really remember what I asked, what guidance I was seeking or whatever, but anyway, regardless, I had asked for a sign of a bouquet of flowers. And in the mail, a couple weeks later, there was a bouquet of flowers on a card that one of my friends had sent me. And so I was all set, ready to go, and said, well, okay, that's my sign, I'm good to go. But that wasn't enough for the universe. The universe took it one step further, and I was out at a bachelorette party, and there ended up being a delivery to the paint bar that we were at. Someone mistakenly ordered flowers, and there was an abundance of them, and brought them to the place that we were at. The bachelorette party happened a few days after I had received the card in the mail. So it wasn't enough just to receive one bouquet of flowers. The universe had sent me multiple. So I definitely got my sign and symbol when I asked for it, for sure. One thing that is important is that if you don't receive your sign or symbol and you are kind of questioning why that is, it's important to spend some time with yourself, meditate, talk to the universe, because there must be something else going on behind the scenes there. You know, either you were doubting that your sign and symbol wasn't going to show up and it didn't, or you may need to rethink your path a little bit. The only way to discover that, though, is to do that in meditation, in connecting with the universe and listening to your inner guidance. And I keep saying listen to your inner guidance, your intuition. That is because every single person is intuitive. Every single person has the ability to connect with the universe. And some people are more intuitive than others, but everyone has the capability to reach out and communicate with the universe and receive communication from the universe as well. I'm going to be doing a video later on about channeled writing and how that happens and how it occurs for me, and a message from the universe that I received when I was doing channeled writing. When it comes to signs and symbols, if you're not receiving your sign, that is what the universe wants you to do. Regroup, rethink, come back, and be ready to receive more guidance. That's kind of everything that I wanted to say about signs and symbols, all that I was led to say about signs and symbols, I should say. The last thing, I guess, is to really just, honestly, once you ask the universe, just forget about it entirely. Forget that you even asked it, because it will make that sign and symbol appear even more crystal clear to you. Because you'll be like, oh, wait a minute, I asked for that, and all of a sudden it has appeared. So definitely make sure that you let go, surrender, and let the universe do its work. So I hope that you enjoyed. I'm going to be putting a whole bunch of links in the description down below about what I'm talking about in this video in regards to signs and symbols. And also, while you're down there, hit that subscribe button, leave me a like, write me a comment. I would love to hear from you all what you think about signs and symbols. If you have any more questions, I'll try and answer them. And yeah, I hope you all enjoyed, and I will see you very soon. Bye. No! That moment when you discover your leggings have holes. Oh, sad day. It's fine.